Thank you. That's called So What. Can I get a little more monitor, maybe? A little more guitar, too, in the monitor. Please. Thank you. Close enough. Let's get started. Send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Joy, I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I'm not up there, but power. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. Peace, I send peace over the mountains. I send peace over the sea. I send peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. Love, I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. Yeah, and it returns returns to me, and it returns to me.
Good evening and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Northern Colorado. My name is Christine Roth and I am your platform host today. We're so glad that you're here. We are a community committed to living from love, celebrating our oneness, and supporting one another on our spiritual path. May today offer exactly what your heart needs. So let's take a moment to invite our kids up.
God is everything there is, so I'm a part of God. I know there's lots of good for me and everybody else. I'm thankful and grateful for everything we have. So I let go of this prayer, and so it is. Here we go. God is everything there is, so I am part of God. I know there's lots of good for me and everybody else. I'm thankful and grateful for everything we have. So I let go of this prayer, and so it is.
All right. Okay, so let's move into our announcements. First up, we have Wednesday Recharge. Join us for our monthly meditation gatherings designed to restore and renew. Our next session takes place this Wednesday on the 14th. And this will be the second Wednesday of the month online at 6:30 p.m. And then we also have an additional session that is offered on the fourth Wednesday of the month. And that session is in person at a private residence in Timnath, and that's also at 6:30 p.m. So if you would like details on how to join either of these and to reserve your spot, please email info@cslnoco.org so you can receive that information. Next up, we have Coffee and Connection. Whether you're brand new or have been around for a while, you're invited to join Coffee and Connection with Reverend Leah, a casual drop-in happening every month at a local coffee shop. The next one will be this Thursday, January 15th from 10:30 a.m. to noon at the Alley Cat Coffee House in Fort Collins. Save the date. We are so excited to share that beginning February 1st, we'll be gathering in our new space and returning to Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. So I invite you to join us at the new location, which will be at the CSU University Center for the Arts. You will be receiving more details in the upcoming week. So please know that we look forward to sharing this new beginning with you, this new chapter, and that will be happening on February 1st. To register for any of these opportunities or to learn more or to receive additional information about what's happening in this community, please stay tuned to our newsletter and receive that. And if you would like to subscribe, please do so at cslnoco.org. Okay, so I invite you now to just take a moment to breathe and settle in and get comfortable. And if you would like, you can close your eyes. And on the next inhale, say silently to yourself, "The radiance within me blesses the world." And as you breathe out, repeat these words again. "The radiance within me blesses the world." We just breathe in and breathe out, repeating these words silently. The radiance within me blesses the world. Please join me in a prayer. So right here, right now, I feel the presence and power of the divine, of this spirit that I call God. No matter what I call it, I know that it is the one mind, the one life, the one light. I know that it is the infinite source of good, and it is the creator of absolutely everything. I know that it is the great grand expression of love and peace. And I know that I am one with this divine presence, for it moves within me, around me. It experiences and expresses life through me and as me. It is in each moment, in each breath, in each heartbeat. I don't need to will it. I don't need to welcome it, for it just is. And what I know for this evening is that we are open to knowing that space of God within. And we do that by allowing ourselves to hear the words of our speaker this evening, to be touched by the music, to be inspired by the people around us, and to share a loving connection with each other. And for all of it, I give great thanks for this moment to be together, for this word, for knowing that God is ever guiding and ever leading. So I release this, I let it go, and know that it is absolutely returned to us just as I have spoken. And if you would like, please join me in saying, and so it is.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. There's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, then I go inside and I quiet my mind. I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. There's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There's a love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
All right, so we have a guest speaker this evening. Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano brings 35 years of ministry experience, having served multiple communities throughout her career. She currently serves as co-lead minister alongside Reverend Joshua Reeves at Mile High Church in Lakewood. So please help me welcome Reverend Michelle Medrano.
Hi, everybody. Wow, I'm so happy to be here and so happy for you all in your move. I know that a location move moves cheese, but it's going to be great. And I'm happy to be back here again. And as it said on the slide you might have seen earlier, my message is all about this thing called you. And it's an intentional message for sure for us to explore. It's a new year, and happy new year to everybody. I love the fresh energy that comes with a brand new year, the opportunities and the energy that people have to do new things and endeavor to improve themselves and make life better. And I myself am doing crunches twice a day now. I do Captain in the morning and Nestle's at night. Actually, that was a meme that I found that I thought was really good. Another one I found was really funny. It says, I'm opening a gym called Resolutions. It will have exercise equipment for the first 2 weeks, and then it turns into a wine bar for the rest of the year. That could be kind of how it feels, isn't it? And so the title for this message really comes from The Science of Mind, which is a book written by the founder of our teaching, Ernest Holmes. And 100 years ago, right now, Ernest Holmes published The Science of Mind for the first time in 1926, and it was a version of his work attempting to explain what it is that he believed and what we believed. He hadn't even incorporated the organization as we know it, the international organization. He was a speaker, teacher, writer in Los Angeles. And then he did incorporate our organization called the Institute of Religious Science in 1927, which is a year from now. So in a year, we'll be celebrating our 100th anniversary. And then in 1938, he had a partner, and they edited and basically kind of repackaged The Science of Mind. That original book, when he wrote it in 1926, he was 37 years old. And that wasn't even his first book. His first book was written 7 years prior to that, in 1919, when he was, 32 years old. So he was a go-getter. That man was a go-getter. He's written many, many books. But when he repackaged The Science of Mind in 1938, he put somewhat of I would call it a quick start at the front of the book. 4 chapters, 4 brief chapters. So if you get that book ever, you can read through those chapters. That starts with the very first chapter, the thing itself. And then the second one is, I got to get it right in the right order, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. And so a tradition of many of the Centers for Spiritual Living over the years has become that in January, we do what we call go back to basics. You know, one of the most challenging things I've discovered as a minister in my 35 years is that on a Sunday when we give a talk, we stand before y'all, and we've got people in the room who are brand new, who don't know a thing about Ernest Shirtliff Holmes. Shirtliff, that is his middle name, I swear to God. I don't know who thought that one up, but anyway. And then there are those in the room who've been around as long or longer than I have. I started in this teaching when I was 15 years old, so that was just like 5 years ago. And we endeavor and challenge ourselves as ministers, as does your minister, the wonderful Reverend Leah, to come up with a message that can hopefully inspire and uplift people of all levels and access to this teaching. And it's one of the greatest challenges. And so for those of you who've been around a long time and you've heard all these facts that I just told you about Ernest Holmes, you might be like, yeah, whatever, I know that. Those of you who are brand new might be going, oh, that's interesting information. And the same holds true with these messages that we often do as centers at the beginning of the year, a revisit of the basic ideas of our teaching. And if you're brand new and you haven't been around a while, it's going to be really refreshing. I'm predicting my talk will be really refreshing, I guess. I hope it will be refreshing. And if you've been around a while, you may be tempted to check out. But here's what I've discovered. I've discovered that even after all these years, I go back and I pick up that Science of Mind book, as I did for this message, and I reread that little chapter on the thing itself. And I had underlined certain passages and made little notes and little stars. And you can tell in different colors over the years, different pens were used. And I swear to God, when I look at something that I highlighted, I don't ever remember reading it before. Mm-hmm. And I read it, and oftentimes I find myself refreshed with, wow, that's a powerful thought. And I get very present to the fact that no matter how basic I might go back to, what's happened is that I've changed and shifted and evolved in my discoveries about myself and about the nature of the universe and the nature of God. And therefore, as I read these things I've clearly read before, they might have a new meaning or a new inspiration to me. So I say that to those of you who are practitioners or who have been a part of this teaching for a long time. Don't let the fact that there might be some basic talks about our teaching every once in a while that show up in your community keep you from thinking there's going to be value, because you and I are always evolving and deepening, and therefore the work is always evolving and deepening. So this very first one, the thing itself, Holmes endeavors to explain to us what he believes the nature of God is. And he was challenged, as some of you might be challenged. I hear students tell me all the time when they come to take classes, well, I don't like the term God. That whenever someone says the word God, I think of some guy in the sky, and that's just not what I believe in. I totally get it. I totally understand it. And for a while, that was me when I first endeavored into these teachings, because I would say the word God, and I had just come out of the Catholic Church a couple of years before that and had had some challenges. Now I'm at peace and absolutely blessed and love that community and all communities. But at that time, I was a 15-year-old, pretty mad at the Catholic Church for a lot of reasons. And I did not like the word God at all. And so I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to say it. And so I was taught in some of the work that I did to come up with different words, and that Ernest Holmes had called it a lot of different things. I think that's why he called it the thing itself. And anytime he wants to talk about God and use a word that he believes is synonymous with it, he capitalizes it. So the thing is T-H-I-N-G, capital T, for the thing itself. And he's explaining to us in this brief little chapter the nature of the divine, that the thing itself, he says, is first cause. It's the source of all creation. It's the creative intelligence back of everything. In fact, he says, to quote him in this chapter, the study of the science of mind is a study of first cause, spirit, mind, which he capitalizes. He distinguishes between the mind that is God and the mind that a human might have to think, or that invisible essence, that ultimate stuff. He even capitalized stuff, that guy did, I swear. And intelligence, which he also capitalized, from which everything comes. The power back of creation, the thing itself. So in future writings, we hear Holmes say to us, that which created all that is had nothing else but itself to create out of. Therefore, it created everything out of itself. And he distinguishes very clearly in this chapter a few key ideas. Number one, that God is not a person. Now, that may be challenging for some of us as we read his writings, because though he will make this distinction, he persists in referring to God as a male being. He will call God him occasionally. And I often caution people to remember he was writing this book in 1926. That was the way things were at the time. If he were here today and rewriting the book, he would not include any gender at all. And in fact, he says in some other writings how he believes that the creator of this universe is androgynous. And yet, in his writings, he persists in calling God a him. I like that he calls God an it. And he capitalizes the word it, of course, whenever he refers to God in this way. And so he distinguishes here that God is a presence. It is a presence that exists in, through, and as all people, all conditions, all situations, all relationships. And that's a powerful idea. And I think it was a powerful idea. It has been a powerful idea throughout history, as mystics have articulated, and many teachers and prophets and gurus and founders of lots of traditions have called out that God's not some guy in the sky keeping track. That's the one I call Santa God. Yeah, when I was a little girl, I was pretty sure that Santa and God were brothers, because the rules were the same. Only if I was a good girl, I got toys at Christmas. And if I was a good girl in terms of God's ideas, I got to go to heaven when I died. And so as soon as I discovered are there any really young people in the room? As soon as I discovered the secret of Santa, I knew they were lying to me about God. So for a while, I was an atheist. I thought, oh, these adults, they're just using that God thing to get me to be good. Because the notion of God in the sky, keeping track, judging us, falls away in this teaching. We don't believe any of that. We don't believe that God is keeping track that way of us at all. And indeed, this presence is this ever-present, unconditionally loving principle. So words he used in that quote are often words people will start using when they refer to God. Spirit, intelligence, infinite intelligence, life, love, all of those. And not only is it not out there in the sky keeping track of us, it also is an impersonal law. Meaning that it works the same for everyone. Like gravity, for example. It's principled. In other words, gravity can't wake up one day and say, well, I really like Michelle Medrano. I'm going to make sure she stays on the ground. But that Sam guy right there, happy birthday to my friend Sam, by the way, he gets to float. He's going up. I'm not keeping him on the ground. He's a bit of a troublemaker. So no, he doesn't get, we all know that's ridiculous, right? But we sometimes persist in thinking, well, God's blessed this person more than me. Or God's blessed me more than her. And it doesn't work like that, according to Ernest Holmes and our teaching. It's impersonal. Indeed, in this chapter, Holmes gives a very poignant example when he talks about if we take two crayons, and I have two crayons and you have two crayons, and I have a red crayon and a purple crayon, and we melt them and mix them up, they're going to mix the same for me as they do for you, because that's just the principle. It's just how it works. And he's saying that it doesn't matter who we are. If we use this law that has been given to us, in other words, the infinite, because it made us out of itself and imparted this same law unto us, we also, through the power of our word, through the power of our thoughts, through the power of our ideas, through the power of our intentions, we are creating our own world for ourselves. And that this is a great joy. In my experience, knowing this about the nature of the universe can be really freeing and really challenging. It can be freeing because I know then that I can, if I want to change my life, that I can work to change my life. In fact, one of the baseline slogans, if you will, of our teaching is change your thinking, change your life. It's this belief that if I change what's in my consciousness, keep in mind, only a certain percentage of our consciousness is conscious. The vast majority of what we're actually thinking is in the unconscious or the subjective part of our mind. So 80% that's down there below the surface is what is activated and creating. So in other words, if we do not persist in healing, forgiving, letting go, discovering what's down there deep inside, hidden beliefs we've taken on, those things will win out until we discover and change them. They will win out in terms of this creative process. But it's also challenging because God isn't going to rescue us from ourselves. When we look around at things that are going on in the world, even in this last week, my goodness, more violence and wars and conflicts and shootings, a shooting in Minneapolis, just heartbreaking situation, shooting in Portland. We want God to fix it. Some of us are angry about it, which I can understand. And we think that God has abandoned us. That God's not fixing it, that God should do something about this. And if Ernest Holmes were here, he would say, you're God, go do something about it. If you want something done about it, do something about it. And even if you don't go do something from a social justice standpoint, there's sure lots we can do in consciousness. See, it doesn't work here. Here's how it works. It doesn't work for us to hate and criticize and go to the extremes of the fringes of belief systems and hate the people over there and hate the people over there and then demand that there be less violence in the world. It doesn't work like that. As long as we're in the fringes hating the other side of the fringe, we're not creating peace on earth. We're contributing to more and more of the same. Because that's how this works. The thing itself is activated in me, in you, and every human being. And we all have a part in what's going on in the global scene. And some of us, our part is to go out and do something, to be active, to be in the political arena or in the social arena, to make change and to do things. And for some of us, our work is in consciousness. For many of us, our healing work is to heal and be about the change of our own personal relationships and cleaning up our own thoughts and getting rid of the angers and the resentments and the animosity that's in our own awareness. That's powerful work. Do not underestimate the power of that work. That is using the power within us and using the law to create change and to be about doing something different, becoming a peacemaker in a very powerful, powerful sense. And it's important work. And so we don't criticize or diminish anyone who gets about this work. And in fact, all of our classes, all that we do here in our services, all that our practitioner prayer partners do to support us, it's all in that direction to help us clear the space to be a more loving, clear channel for the divine, to express itself through us, in us, and as us. But There's nothing out there that's keeping you or I from our good. There's nothing out there that's keeping peace from breaking out on this planet. There's nothing out there that is rewarding some and punishing others. There's nothing out there that is keeping people down. It's the mass consciousness that we've all contributed to. It's the individual consciousness that we take part in. That's the game afoot here. And when we understand the thing itself, we begin to be very conscious, conscientious, and responsible about our work. And so we get to go deeper in that regard and allow ourselves to heal and be a healing presence. In this chapter, Ernest Holmes, at the very beginning, he emphasizes that the thing itself is this love. And I often say to people, I don't think that we understand the unconditional love that Spirit really is. Because it says to us, look, you've got the power. You've got the power to create the life you want. I've given you everything. Nothing is in your way except yourself. And I so love you that I'm not going to dabble. Think about this. Has anybody ever had a relationship where we knew, I got to let that person do what they got to do. I got to stay out of the way. I got to stop dabbling in their life. That's the most loving thing I could do, right? Anybody besides me? Yeah, a few people, that right? Yeah. Imagine that at the global universal scale, this infinite presence that says, you got the power. You get to create the life you want to create, and I'm going to let you do it. You want a life of suffering and lack? Okay, it's your life. Have fun. Yeah, no thanks, right? Good answer. But that is what we do, and then we wish that something would rescue us from ourselves, right? You want a life of peace and wholeness and love and joy on this planet? You're a part of that. And in your own experience, you got to be a part of that too. And that's the hard work. That's the work we're here about. That's what we're talking about in this thing, not this thing called you, but the thing itself. He says, since it is true, it follows that we cannot say that one thought is creative while another is not. We must say that all thought is creative. Now, here's where he makes it even more clear. According to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind the thought. Thought creates a mold in the subjective in which the idea is accepted and poured and sets power in motion in accordance with the thought. Ignorance of this excuses no one from its effects, for we are dealing with law and not with whimsical fancy. So in other words, one example that I often use is that we do not get the luxury of standing in front of the mirror every day feeling disgusted by what we see, whether it's our face or our aging or our bodies, and then expect to be healthy and whole and happy. Doesn't work like that. We do not get the luxury of being afraid and hating money and hating people who have money and making people who have money wrong and dissing people who are rich or wealthy and then get to have money. It doesn't work like that. The minute we get about those things, then we are planting, especially because a lot of those ideas, those negative ideas, come with impulse and emotion, conviction, right? Ooh, some of us are got a lot of conviction about how hard it is to be us, or how horrible it is what happened to us, or how horrible it is out there, or whatever it might be. And he would say, it's not just, I had a thought. I often tell people, like, it's not like we walk around going, I had a thought. Oh my gosh, I thought something negative. It has to come with nature, impulse, emotion, conviction. Those things that are repetitive, those things that rise up often from our how we were raised, the culture we came out of, previous experiences in spiritual tradition, things that people around us, other adults, told us over and over again about ourselves or about life, they become the thing itself. They become the law of our life. They become the seeds that are implanted in consciousness on our behalf. And we, just like if you had a garden and there were weeds choking out your flowers, you'd have to go out and pull those weeds and get rid of them. We have to do the same thing. God ain't going to do it for us. Nothing out there is going to do it for us. We have to be responsible and accountable for tending to the garden of our mind. This is what Holmes is telling us. And I used to study with Mary Morrissey, and one of the things that she used to say, this beautiful New Thought teacher, is, are you creating your life by design or by default? Just imagine if you had a garden and you just said, well, I'll just see what grows out there. I really love roses. I hope some roses grow, but let's just see what happens. And you just stare at the plot of land and you wait and you see what pops up. You might get some roses, you might not. But if you have a garden and you want roses, or you want or need to grow carrots, you're going to have to tend to the garden, and you're going to have to plant the seeds, and you're going to have to water them, and you're going to have to remove things from the garden that are not in alignment with those things. And your mind and my mind is exactly the same. We must tend to the garden of our own mind and learn to be powerful designers of the life we would most like to live, individually and collectively. This is the work of engaging with the thing itself and understanding that nothing is as it is unless we say so. I was on a break between Christmas and New Year's, which I was really grateful for. And I had a particular day where I was in our bedroom and I was looking out at the sky, and then we were outside at night a few times. I had a lot of sky gazing going on. And one day in particular, I was looking out the window and I had this moment of clarity that was so profound that I'm even challenged to find a way to express it. But it was, the profoundness was all about meaning and how everything, things, experiences, what we see, it's all neutral. It's neutral until we give it meaning. And once we give it meaning, then it's like we've implanted a seed in the garden, and based on the meaning we've given something, that's what shows up in our lives. Even brain science is telling us this now. I love to talk about a certain part of our brain that is literally like a search engine. If I might have explained this before here, I'm not sure, but if you go to a search engine and you put romantic relationship in the search engine, if you just put those words in, you might get some articles about relationships and about how to find one and the different match.coms and all that sort of thing. But one word could change the outcome of your search, couldn't it? If you put romantic relationship and then put the word fear, you're going to get articles about people who harmed each other, killed each other in their romantic relationship, people who it went all wrong, because the way that we search and the energy that we search with makes all the difference in what shows up. And we're the same. Money is neutral. So we get to decide in our search engine, are we putting fear in with money all the time? Health, it's neutral. Our bodies are neutral. There's influences, there's environmental influences and genetic influences, of course, but then epigenetics comes along and says, well, you might have a genetic predisposition towards something, but epigenetics is you set it off with stress or thoughts that boom, there it is. So we are a huge part of the creation of the meaning of what we see going on. So I ask, why in the world would we persistently and habitually assign negative meaning to things and people? What possible good can come of it? If I'm looking at a group of people, a former faith tradition, I mentioned the Catholic Church. I walked out of the Catholic Church. I had thought, I have 3 strikes. 3 strikes, I'm out. I'm out. And I was angry. And I said horrible things about Catholics for years and joked about how I was a recovering Catholic and blah, 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 blah. And had resentment. And then I remembered and learned that wonderful quote that I love so much about how resentment is like eating poison and hoping the other person would die. And I realized I can't live and have this kind of resentment over a whole group of people that exist on the planet. And I forced myself to do the work to look at the beauty that I got in the Catholic Church and to remember the times when my priest, Father John, loved and supported me and came to my house and blessed holy water on my behalf and was so gentle and sweet with me and listened to me when I had questions and never shamed me or made me wrong. Other people in the Catholic Church kind of did. I mean, I literally got kicked out of catechism, but that's a whole nother story. And I forgave the catechism teacher, and I forgave all of it because I have friends and brothers and sisters on this planet who are very happily ensconced in their Catholic faith, and I'm happy for them. And I realized through doing that holy sacred work, my goal is I want people to be spiritually satisfied. I don't care if it's here in this beautiful community or in the Catholic Church or in their Jewish faith or Lutheran. I don't really care. I don't necessarily agree with everything in every faith, but that's okay. I don't even think here in Science of Mind we have to agree with everything Ernest Holmes says. In fact, I've got a few disagreements that I talk about a lot in classes, and that's okay. Ernest Holmes would be very proud because Ernest Holmes would say to us, this is a teaching that doesn't tell you what to think. It teaches you how to think about your life. And that this is a banquet, this particular center and all of the centers for spiritual living. And we show up and just like a banquet, we take what serves us and we let go of the rest. And so we believe that we can change our lives and have a powerful experience by connecting with our idea of the divine and our thoughts. So to put this into practice this week, here are my suggestions. First of all, explore your personal cosmology this week. Do I still persist in believing in a God that's out there versus a God that's here and everywhere? And how's, as Dr. Phil would say, how's that working for me? If it's working for you, then by all means, keep doing it. But if it's not, consider a deepened relationship, which I've found mostly comes through spiritual study, meditation, being with other like-minded people, showing up to centers like this, hearing messages, talking about it later, debating with friends and family about what works and what doesn't, and find my way through it. Allowing myself to keep deepening into my personal beliefs about the nature of God so that I feel I'm having a real, not just an intellectual, a real experience of the divine. Now, I also caution you that it can be very mystical and mysterious. Some of the moments that I have felt the most connected, in fact, I talked last time I was here in July about some oneness moments. I can't recreate them like that. I'm not that advanced, I don't think, but I'm working on it. And I'm always doing things to lead myself back to moments like that where I can go, oh, wow, I feel it, even in the silence. So bringing ourselves back over and over again and accepting that we are always using it. We are always planting seeds. It is always right here. It's not only here when we're in church. It's not only here when we're thinking about it. The great teacher Richard Rohr says, in what the mystics know. We cannot attain the presence of God because we're already totally in the presence of God. What's absent is awareness. So this is an invitation not only to understand our teaching, but to have an awareness about it. And that all thought is creative. Choose wisely. Choose. Ask ourselves, what good is it doing me to persist in believing the worst case scenarios about things? What good does that really do me? Is that the voice of fear talking? And if it is the voice of fear, loving myself, having compassion for myself that I'm having a moment of fear, and yet doing just as much to bring myself into the voice and the energy of compassion. And notice how often we choose meaning when we cannot really know. The Buddhist teaching says your worst enemy isn't a person, situation, or thing. It's the story in your mind based on assumptions and projected fears and insecurities. This power, this thing itself, it builds our world individually and collectively. I encourage you and hope that you are inspired to become more familiar with your relationship with the thing itself. Let's pray together. Please join me as we go within and we take this time just to be still, to feel that connection with the thing itself. That energy that is everywhere, God, the presence, the light, the life. It is all that there is. It is the totality of beingness that permeates all creation, all people, all relationships, all activities. All that is God. We absolutely allow ourselves to fall into this awareness. And I do this now as I recognize that there is one presence, one power. And I do this on behalf of every person within the sound of my voice. And I accept and affirm in this moment our oneness in it and as it. We are one. This presence is moving through each of us now, is living itself as each of us. And this ability to create, to utilize the thing itself, has been given freely to each one of us. I accept and affirm this now, and as I do so, I recognize that we each go forth from this place more empowered to live that life of connectedness, more empowered to feel it, to sense it, to be in relationship with it, and to understand it. I accept and affirm that there is an opening in our heart, in our mind, in our soul, in our essence, to feel and sense that presence, that thing itself. And this opening allows us to become a conscious creator, a conscious person who lives a life that they choose knowingly, willingly, and joyously. I give thanks for this awareness right here and right now within myself and all who hear these words, and declare that because of this, we are building a better world together. We are building a better life together. What a joy and what a gift this is. And in deep, profound gratitude for this truth as it reveals itself to us, through us, and as us, I just release this word now. I release this word into that law as though it were a seed being implanted in the rich garden of creation, accepting and affirming that as I release it and let it go, it is blooming into being already right here and right now. And so we let it go and let it be. And so it is.
All right, here we go. Join me in this if you can. After a little bit, here we go. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There is only one holy substance flowing in and throughout creation. And right here in this very moment, you are an expression of it. You are a beloved expression of love's perfection. So raise your hands and celebrate, because you know there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Keep it on going. There's only one life. That life is God's life. And that life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. God is God's life. Life is perfect. That life is my life now. Give it up for Lance. One. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now.
Right. Thank you so much. Let's give it up one more time for our music team. All right. So as we move into our offering, let's just take a moment to feel grateful for the blessings in our lives and for the spiritual nourishment that we have received here today. We give from a place of gratitude, knowing that God is the source of all good. On the screen, you'll see ways to give online, by text, by mail, and if you scan the QR code, it will take you directly to our online giving page. We thank you for your generosity and for helping us embody a world that works for all. So I invite you to place your gift over your heart and join me in saying our offering affirmation together. Abundance continually fills my life. Spirit provides all that I need, and I joyfully receive it.
There was a time in my life thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God. Oh, the love of God was at hand. Now I can say if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, just gotta let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. Yes, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the lights. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. Let me hear it. Come on. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for love. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the lights. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love. Yes, I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for love.
right. So if you are here for the first time, either in person or online, welcome to our spiritual family. We're so glad you decided to join us today. Please know that you matter and we're here to support you. After service, I will be available for prayer on this side of the room, as will Tanya. And we will also have prayer requests available on the back of the table in the back of the sanctuary. If you are online and you would like to have a prayer, please visit our website at cslnoco.org and submit your prayer requests. Our practitioners and ministers will take those requests and pray on them over the week for you. Thank you all for being here today. It's always a joy to come together in community and share this time of inspiration and connection, and a heartfelt thanks to everyone who made today's service possible. It takes a dedicated team to come together every Sunday and put together the service for you. Your time and energy are truly, truly appreciated. And thank you again, Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano, for your wonderful wisdom and insight today. We're honored to have you here. So please stand. And sorry, I'm a little behind in my slides here. Please stand if you're willing and able for a benediction and closing song. Place your hands over your heart and let's say our benediction together. May we be at peace. May our hearts remain open. May we awaken to the light of our own true nature. May we be healed. May we be a source of healing for all beings. Love is who I am. Love is who we are. Love is all there is.
For years I would talk about how I wanted to change the world, but now I've always left it up for someone else. Then I found I could change my life. That's how I could change the world. Oh, let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world right now. Good night, everybody. Thank you.